I had plans for an MCU video, a Doctor Who video, but then this movie had to go and be fucking incredible, so now all my fucking plans are ruined. Look at that whole Nolan trilogy. I fucking love that shit. Everyone loves that shit. I even love Rises.
You're a big guy. For you.
I fucking love all of them. And I really liked Batfleck as well. I was so interested by a Batman who had been pushed across the line he swore once not to cross. And then Warner Brothers just revealed themselves to be one of the worst companies today. But you know what, it's a Batman film, I'm still excited. I wasn't put off by Pattinson. I always believe an actor is cast and sometimes they are miscast and it's just a misjudgment. But I'd seen The Lighthouse by this point, so I also knew he was more than capable of putting in a great performance. And let me tell you, I haven't been so bricked up during the cinema in a while.
Fear is a tool.
The character of Batman is one of my favourite aspects about this movie, expertly written and acted. Bruce is a recluse pretty much, and believes the best way he can help is putting fear into the city of Gotham. The introduction to Batman is maybe my favourite introduction to a comic book character in a movie, at least in a while right now. I mean, that whole sequence is it's perfect. We get the voiceover, which is a really interesting take by the way, and I thought it really worked for this story. We get criminals looking into dark alleyways where you can't see anything. Slow zooms into the shadows of the streets of Gotham. And that really put in the fear that the criminals have into us. Like, genuinely guessing where he's gonna come up and what's gonna go down when he does. Genuinely frightening is he there. Just, that's the impact that he has had, installing utter fear into so many parts of Gotham. And finally on the train station we hear his heavy footsteps come up. You know shit's about to go down. This really represents where the character has gotten in his first 2 years, and it is great. We get that brutal beatdown shown in the trailers, and the Batman absolutely is the danger.
I am the danger.
And we not long after see his relationship with Gordon and the police, which is a little bit of a ropey one, but Gordon trusts him and feels like he's actually trying to help. And so Gordon puts his neck out on the line because he thinks Batman's a real asset to them. The characterization of Bruce here was very unexpected to me. He doesn't like being the playboy Bruce Wayne. He hasn't established that duality yet. And a lot of people think that's a problem, but I don't mind. This is a early Batman. He hasn't established that, and this is an angry Batman. He's in the Batsuit most of the movie. The one time he goes out as Bruce is because he thinks the Riddler might be there, and that's at the funeral. But the other thing is that he enjoys being Batman. He doesn't have that balance. He just enjoys being Batman, and he entirely believes at the start of the movie that fear is the best way to accomplish his goal. This is the peak of his anger. He is angry and young, and because after 1 year of doing it, he's noticed no change, and that fuels his anger even more. There's a scene at the end where he tries to help civilians out of this wreckage, and they're scared of him. And in that moment, he realizes that fear does do something.
Holy fucking shit!
But the civilians of Gotham need hope. And they don't have that right now. That is the one thing they don't have. And in that moment, it kind of continues onto a beautiful scene where he just keeps hold of this woman's hand as she's taken away in a helicopter. And it is a genuine realization, okay, I need to be more. He's called Vengeance throughout the whole of the movie. He's known as that pretty much throughout Gotham. One of the people taking up the mantle of the Riddler at the end calls himself Vengeance. He realizes that that's not good enough. It's a beautiful scene, really so emotional, and it's good to see that most people understand it and aren't a fucking Catwoman is probably my favourite Catwoman. I actually love Anne Hathaway, and obviously Michelle Pfeiffer is pretty much iconic, but she's just acted so well here and incorporated into the story in a way that I adore, and I'm so invested in her. And the bond with Batman I also love. There isn't any chemistry, but that's the point. They're awkward. Batman longs for this relationship, but he's not at a point where he can have that, really. The torment she goes through over the course of the movie and having to be stopped from killing her own father, really compelling. Absolutely love that shit. The Riddler is great. One of my favourite Batman villains right now after this film. He was genuinely scary, and the performance keeps the comedic elements that the Riddler has always just had. I mean, his name's the Riddler. Jim Carrey played him in the 80s or 90s, whenever the fuck Batman Forever came out.
Look at the cock on this guy.
This performance in this film keeps some of that comedy, and it's great. The Riddler is tired of Gotham's corrupt streets and the lies, even of the Wayne family, and the way he goes about revealing the truth is brutal and unsettling. As just said, the Riddler is a great antagonist here, and the film really follows along the lines of Seven without feeling like it's copying. Which is a great compliment. Seven is fucking a great film. It's a really engaging story that unfolds, and seeing how it affects Bruce in particular. He just fucks with everyone. I mean, Bruce and Gordon spend a long time with a fucking incredible chase with the Penguin. Maybe my favourite Batman action scene. And then at the end of it, they realise it was right in front of them the whole time. The Riddler easily just fucks with everyone around him. And in some movies that would feel like a waste of time, but I feel like it shows the intelligence of the Riddler, and at the same time, we got that Batmobile chase. I can't complain.
Let's go to get a sip of water.
The revelation of Bruce finding out that his parents aren't as squeaky clean as he thought was one of the first things I picked up on in the trailers. It reminded me of the Telltale games, which I haven't played, but I know it was a big point of those games. They weren't the worst people, but he started his journey to honour them and carry their legacy in the way he thought they'd wanted. But then is hit with this real conflict and confusion about what they were actually. And it leads to one of my favourite scenes in the movie with Alfred in the hospital after he was almost fucking blown up. I was so terrified. Don't you ever dare kill Alfred, please. But it's a great scene between the two of them, and it's really nice because we see earlier in the movie their relationship is really strained at the moment with Bruce being Batman. Alfred, as always, is scared for him. It's paced pretty much perfectly too. Despite its 3-hour length, it feels shorter than some MCU movies. It's kind of a slow burn, but that serves the story really well for me.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
So yeah, there is one scene I kind of didn't like and really took me out right at the end. It has the Riddler come in jail, and then we get a conversation with what appears to be the Joker. I'd be fine with this if it didn't feel so tacked on. Now apparently test audiences felt this was much better, but from reviews I feel like a lot of people don't enjoy this scene, and I'm one of them. Probably wouldn't feel as tacked on if Warner Bros hadn't fucked everything up before it. Joker was a great film. Jared Leto had the potential to be a great Joker. But now we have 3 Jokers, and that's just in the movies. I don't know what's going on in TV or comics. But I can't really talk about this without ranting about what Warner Bros have done, so that's for another day. But it feels really shoehorned and almost like a contractual obligation. I didn't care for it. It wasn't, I mean, I don't know. If they do something with the Joker in another film, I'm interested to see it, but in this film, that felt very tacked on.
Oh, take it easy, sweetheart. Hear everything they say, ain't you?
Most complaints about this have been it's too dark, and that is some bullshit. It is, yes, it's very serious, it's very dark. It's not as realistic as the Nolan trilogy, and that's fine, it doesn't have to be. And that's a great thing, especially with most of the comic book movies we get today. It's such a breath of fresh air as well. But it's actually quite funny. First of all though, I don't know why you'd go in expecting it to be like a Marvel movie. The trailers very clearly show the tone of the movie. You've got Nirvana playing over it. Of course it's not going to be a comedy. And the film actually has moments of levity that are really fucking funny, and funnier than anything Marvel have done. And they can be quite subtle, but I think the audience are so used to everyone being a quipping machine that they don't appreciate this humour. Like, there's one scene with the Penguin where he's tied up and he just waddles, and it fucking cracked me up. The Batman's investigating the Riddler's place, and this other officer is like, hey, you can't do that. And Patterson just looks at him, and the officer's like, no, never mind, I was wrong, that's fine. They're just really subtle. And like I said, the Riddler he's quite a comedic villain. Not like, okay, hang on, that is not my best way to word it.
This is about a king.
But he has moments that are both unsettling and funny simultaneously, and that is a task that is very risky and very hard to do. They're natural moments that are actually funny. So I'm bunching these two together because I don't want this video to be much longer, but the music is great. What an incredible soundtrack. Holy shit, the Batman theme has been stuck in my head for so long. And Nirvana.
Something's in my ass.
I had goosebumps often due to the mix of the cinematography and the music. They meshed together so well. The introduction of the Batmobile is probably it's one of my favourite scenes. The sound gave me goosebumps. I can't wait to see this film again. I got chills. And like I say, visually, it's better than everything Marvel have done. I mean, I haven't seen Eternals, but that film looks quite nice visually, but it's such a breath of fresh air. There's so much cool stuff done with the camera that I can't even just begin to get into without this being half an hour. Framing and the use of colour, yes, this one does have colour. You would notice that if you're not an idiot.
I'm vengeance. I'm gonna come.
So look, I know this review has been a bit gushy, and I do have the odd flaw. I mean, the Batsuit was bulletproof. We see this in the trailers, and it's a visually great scene. I fucking love that. But then later on he gets shot, like, and admittedly it's up close with a sniper, so maybe that's why, but like, these are also very up close, and I don't know, it feels a little bit inconsistent, but I don't know about guns. Maybe this would actually happen. There is another moment where he probably should have fucking died when he glides off the police department, but they're not moments that really took me out. Yeah, I don't have much bad to say about this movie in honesty. I could see some people finding it too slow, even though for me, I didn't find it that slow. I felt like it went past pretty quick, but I could probably understand if some people did find it a bit slower, because, again, so many people are used to Marvel, which sucks, because there's a lot of shit in Marvel, honestly. So much of this film may be criticised because it's not what people are used to over the past few years with the MCU, which kind of sucks, because I think this movie's amazing, and a lot of people seem to agree. But for me, the cast and crew didn't do much wrong. It's a massive breath of fresh air for a superhero flick as well, and that probably does help to why I enjoy it, to be honest. As much as I thought No Way Home was a really good movie, and I really did enjoy it, this absolutely blows it out of the water in almost every aspect. But what I will say, I hope we don't get a cinematic universe out of this. Maybe a trilogy, maybe one spin-off show, but I hope we don't get a whole Batverse. Go and see this if you get a chance, guys. It really is great. And let me know what you think. I'm very interested to hear everyone's thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.